Davies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Amina Margot.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Saying good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world, because we don't just do recordings in the UK and we have listeners from around the world. And thank you for joining us again for episode 22. Tonight, as always, I've got Matt with me. How are you, Matt?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I just been a long week, although the 4-0 over Brighton has made it a little bit sweeter. Couldn't ask it for it twice, but hey, they're not going to allow that to happen, are they, really? And also joining us as ever is Adam. Adam, how are you?
Okay. I mean, it was a rubbish weekend. I think we can all agree. The fact that the highlight of the weekend was watching Chelsea lift a trophy. I mean, that is the lowest of like -10 on the sort of cheerometer scale of like things to enjoy. It wasn't a great weekend, but as you say, thankfully we already had an Arsenal women's win in the bag. They were able to beat Brighton, succeeding where the men failed, I'm hoping they can repeat the trick tomorrow night as well, as we shall discuss.
Yeah, no, definitely. We'll leave that till later in the show, though. But at the moment, our latest transfer rumour is Laura Freigang, who's a forward over in Frankfurt. We're interested. Chelsea are interested. City, Lyon, Bayern Munich and Barcelona. I mean, there's some pretty massive names in there that have won Champions League titles, minus 2 teams. I mean, what are your thoughts on on it, Matt? Sorry, guys, I had to just burst out into laughter, and I'm just...
The way that was cold. It's like, oh, they're all Champions League winning teams, apart from 2.
It's true, though. It's like, if you think about it, how many finals and semi-finals have Chelsea been to and bottled it? Let's be real.
And who's the other team you mentioned that wasn't in return?
Man City just don't get out.
They don't even get that. They don't even get out the group.
Exactly. They don't. You haven't seen it. So Lyon have won Champions League. Bayern Munich, Barcelona, and the Arsenal have won Champions League titles, regardless of how long it was ago for us, by the way. But yeah, what are your thoughts on signing Laura, Matt?
Well, this is a player that I think a lot of us kind of looked at, and although she was a bit part player for Germany, she did really well actually in that Euros last season, and she seems to be the star of the show over at Frankfurt. It'll be interesting because they are currently in that 3rd spot for Champions League, so essentially we could end up playing Frankfurt come the qualification stage, but it's an interesting one. I think we do need a forward, but whether or not it will be Laura, she wouldn't be like top on the list. I think a lot of people will probably know who we all kind of want. We all have our own ideas of who we want. For me, Alessia Russo's top of that list. Laura Freigang would be a perfect number 2 on that list. Should we not get Alessia this summer?
Yeah, no, the thing is, with where I was talking to Mays on Devils United TV last night, they've got 12 players out for contract in the summer. So it's going to be interesting to see. And they've got another 7 the end of next season. So that's 19 in 2 seasons. So it's going to be really interesting. If anybody did miss it, I was on their Maisie's channel, Devils United, last night. Really great show, talking about all things WSL for the top 4 teams. If you do want to check it out, please go and check it out. Give her a like and a sub. Absolutely brilliant channel. I did definitely enjoy myself, that's for sure. But another massive congratulations to Beth Mead. She is now an MBE, which we kind of saw that coming, didn't we, Adam?
Yeah, no, I mean,
Oh dear.
Okay.
Wow.
Adam,
Your player of the tournament, Buffy. Oh, okay.
there we go. Try again. Hello.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, she's won everything going. Oh, for goodness sake. Yes.
I think we've temporarily lost Adam there. Matt, what are your thoughts on Beth Mead becoming an MBE?
It's just becoming almost memeable at the moment, the MBE stuff. I think a lot of list comes down to the New Year's Day honours list, doesn't it? So essentially, this has become from that list. She was very vital for that Euros win. She provided some special moments. So and especially considering how hard the last couple of years has been for her, both on and off the pitch, it was a great way to get some sort of recognition for her, and I was glad to see her see that, and it was quite interesting interview she was giving afterwards as well.
Yeah, no, definitely 100%. I mean, I'm such a massive fan of Beth. Anything she does, I'm like, yes, you go, girl. So, no. But in other news, Matt's favourite player has re-signed her contract, and that is Miss Leah Walty. She's staying.
It's
For
coming up.
all our audio listeners, Matt is currently holding up his signed Leah Walty photograph. He absolutely adores this woman. Matt, what does it mean to you that she's staying?
This it's difficult to put into words, but I'll try and do it as easy as I can. There's nobody like Leah Walty in the world. There are similar players that can do similar things, but it's just excuse you, Lottie. But there is just no one like Leah that would be able to do what Leah does. And excuse you again. She's a fantastic player, and what she's been able to do for me, when I started watching, she was always one to keep an eye on, and she was fantastic. And I remember watching her live. She was just one player that always made me want to see what she was doing both on and off the ball. We have some fantastic players that still make me want to look at them as an individual and see how well they do. Like Katie's doing at the moment. Kim Little does it as well at times. There's other times I will be looking over at Manu and other players across the pitch. It's not just about where the ball is, it's about where they are, when they position themselves, and Leah Walty does that very well. The fact she's also captain of the Switzerland team, it means we've also got more experience. So I think the problem was always going to be, how do you replace a player like Leah Walty if you were to lose her? And that answer is going to be, we're going to have to wait and see until further down the line.
Thankfully.
Yes.
Thankfully. Adam is now back in the room.
Yeah,
so to speak.
Yeah.
Back to my original. I'm going to quick fire 2 questions at you because we have moved on a little bit. What are your thoughts on Beth Mead's MBE, and also Leah Walty's new contract? And there's something else that we will talk about just after that. That happened to you on social media.
I got absolutely convinced. So firstly, Beth Mead, absolutely thrilled. As people know, I've been sort of ever since I sort of.
Oh no.
Not another one.
Of the Arsenal women, I learned that you are joking. You are joking. Please tell me you're joking.
No, you're back now. Go on.
You're fine. You're good. Now you're not. Oh.
Yes, people know I'm a massive. You are winding me up, are you? Oh, for good.
No,
yeah, I'm a massive Beth Mead. Yeah, so Beth Mead, I'm a massive Bessie fan. As everyone knows, I started supporting her properly. So when I joined the Arsenal women's sort of fan base, everyone there had to be a player that you represent, and I chose Beth Mead because she's got an amazing goal against Brighton at the Amex. And I'm really glad that I've invested my stocks in her, because she's been absolutely superb the previous year, and won everything that mattered. Player of the tournament, Euros, Sports Personality of the Year, Freddie Scarborough, and now she's added an MBE to her ever-expanding collection, along with, I think, Lucy Bronze. I think Lucy Bronze got one as well. So it's great that she got the recognition, and I just can't wait to see her back on the pitch next season. I did see in the coverage of the weekend, they mentioned that she's now gone from out of the World Cup to a doubt. For me, she's out of the World Cup. I don't think she should go to the World Cup. I think with an ACL like that, stay at home and bring
As
someone else.
Arsenal fans, none of us want her to go.
Oh,
I don't want any. I mean, even Leah Williamson's gone into possible, and I'm like, no, I don't want it. None of them are going.
Yep. Keep them at home.
No.
Make them recover.
Stay at home. You can go and support them, but you're not playing.
Holiday.
As for Leah Volti, thrilled she's signed a new contract because she is so crucial in that midfield. My worry is the fact that, a bit like Kim Little, we are so reliant on her being fit and playing every game, which isn't healthy. And number sixes are in such short supply in women's football, and we need to somehow either create one or find someone who can be the other Leah Volti. And originally, I think that was going to be Marlon Goot until she sadly, had an ACL and stood away from football altogether. She would have been almost the heir apparent. So that's the next step for Jonas. We've got some time. We've got Leah Volti's hanging around for a few more years. But while she's here, we need to have a succession place or alternative solution to play. Because if Leah Volti had done her ACL, I don't think we'd be in the shout for third place. Put it that way. So that's the next bit. But I'm thrilled.
I'm currently touching wood because you've just said that. So anybody else who's listening to this podcast, please touch wood because he's got a habit of this.
It's a great clip on Twitter. AWFC Lips put it up, and it's a long ball against Liverpool, and she lands at her feet and she kills it dead. Her touch is just amazing, and with both feet as well. Just such a crucial player. It's no wonder that teams like Man City and Chelsea have been trying to sniff around and get her because she is that good. So we're very lucky that she's opted to stick around.
Oh no, definitely 100%. Very happy belated birthday to Miss Jen Beattie. I think for me personally, one of my favourite moments of the season is her knocking Pop over after her goal.
Yes.
Pop thought she was a solid brick wrong, and Jen was like, nah, not going to have none of that. But I am going to ask you both, what is your favourite Jen Beattie moment?
What, this season or overall?
Whenever you like, but for me, it's got to be this season. That moment.
Problem is, a lot of great BT moments happened before I started properly watching them. So things like scoring hat tricks against Chelsea and Barcelona were pretty. My favourite moment is when she scored against Brighton in 2020. It was away at Brighton. It was lockdown season. She scored away at Brighton, final win, and every player came over and piled on her and cheered with her. And it was only until later because she had just discovered that she had cancer. I think it was breast cancer. I think it was, and that was just after a diagnosis, and it was just a really sort of beautiful moment for her. And obviously, thankfully, she was then obviously able to fight it off. And congratulations to her. And she kept on playing even through all the radiotherapy. But that moment there was just a really beautiful moment. It wasn't a game-winning goal, but it was just a brilliant moment, sort of almost of a humanity sort of perspective. So that's my favourite BT moment. That's the moment I'll remember.
Matt?
Adam's kind of hit the nail on the head because I was thinking along those lines, and actually I was just thinking back to this season. Even the goal against Leeds, you look at it and think everyone just sort of ran to her, and it just was like, oh, congratulations. She kind of looked a little bit dazed, if I'm honest. It's just like, what? The ball's gone in.
Yeah, but the thing is, when it hits you square on the head, you know yourself when you play football, you're like, if it goes in, you're more worried about your head than anything else. Even I'd stand there a bit dazed if I think it was a Katie McCabe ball in, was it, if I remember rightly? Or was it a Steph Catley? It was one of those two.
Katie I actually remember last season Katie whipped a corner in and Leah scored against scored at the front post, and she
was dazed. Exactly. If you just think about the amount of power Steph Catley or Katie McCabe put behind that ball, you are going to be a bit dazed. I think personally for me, that would knock me out.
Just personally, I think Steph delivers it a little bit more gently than Katie. Katie goes and wallops it.
Yeah. But still, if you think about the amount of power they put behind the ball, and then I'm not surprised she was a bit dazed. Frida Leonardson-Marnham has been nominated for PFA Fans Player of the Year. Please go and get your votes done at arsenal.com or via the AWFC Twitter. The link is on their page. We also had on her side awards last night. Alex Scott won the Broadcaster of the Year. The boss, Jonas Alvarez, got Manager of the Year, with Carla Ward and Mark and Skinner coming in second and third. Manu Zimsberger unfortunately came second for Goalkeeper of the Season to Mary Earps. And the Player of the Season goes to the one and only Frida Leonardson-Marnham, Player of the Year, who she does fly under the radar so much, but this season it's been her time to shine. So, no, definitely, we're all really pleased to her. But let's get down to what we're really here for.
Hang on. Are we not talking about the Leah Volti contract announcement? Are we not going to...
I forgot it. Oh
yeah,
my
no, you
God.
did. I've been waiting for you to bring it up.
Right, anyway, back to Leah Volti, everybody. So, on social media, if you haven't seen Undercover Volti, you've got to go and check it out, because Adam, he got rumbled by Leah herself with him and his memes.
Yeah.
So Adam, like, how does that feel?
It was very. There's a meme I put of it, well, a GIF, and it's the Marge Simpson sort of covering her face in shame, and it was very much that. And it was Matt who told me about it, because was it over the weekend? Was it came out? Was it on the Friday?
Yeah, you must have been out on the tracks, weren't you?
No, they were probably watching the football or one of the two. No, Matt warned me and just said, "Oh, you've been rumbled on Twitter or something," and I thought, "What's going on here?" And then I watched the video. Can we just say it's a genius piece of marketing from Arsenal? But before we even get into the fact that I got my pants down, absolutely brilliant. I do sadly think it's going to be a one-off, because now they've sort of done this, they can't do it again because people are going to be expecting it. So
they'll leave it a couple of seasons and then it will re-emerge. That's the way to do it. People will forget about it. Unless you were one of them people in that video, people will forget about it.
But it's one of those things. I did the joke. It was a joke ages ago, because actually the greater content was that Leah Volti was kicking a ball in the net, answering questions. It was like a TikTok thing, and I just did a sort of a joke version of one of suggesting, is she going to stay or go? Of course, what we didn't realise is by then she'd already decided. And just an innocuous comment appeared at the bottom, just said stick it in the right goal. I mean, it was so innocuous because it was a username that looks like a bot. The amount of followers a bot.
It did.
I just gave it absolutely no thought whatsoever.
You ignored Leah Volti.
It was the shame. I ignored someone, on Twitter. I mean, strike me down. And seeing it come up in a video and first I was impressed that she actually said my name and didn't go for my handle, which changes with the times. At the time it was Adoria Soltova, and thankfully
I thought you've changed it to Leah Salty now, haven't you?
I changed it before. It before this did happen, because I changed it because the contract got announced, and I thought, I need to name now, so I'm now Leah Salty, which I thought actually is quite good. And then the thing broke, and I watched it, and the moment my name came up, I just had to put my phone on the table and just sort of scream into my hands. No.
The thing is, it had to be you. I mean, you're going on one of the murals on the Arsenal. It just had to be you. Do you know what I mean?
They're getting all this recognition, appearing in the crowd with a scarf in the air,
But the cameras always seem to find you, though. That's the thing.
Waving flag.
You've got the boring straight expression. Your scarf up in the air, and it's just I'm convinced they look. The cameraman that does it's got to be the same person. They just look out for you. I think we might have lost him again.
Just to mention that as well. Go on, Adam, before we lose you again.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was just going to say everyone loves me apart from the Wi-Fi. It just goes.
Oh, no, we've lost you again.
Watch the video all the way through, and really nice.
Okay, I think Adam is having an argument with his Wi-Fi currently.
My computer.
Okay, and I think he's back now, although he is currently frozen for our YouTubers who are watching. But yeah, no. Matt, did you want to continue what you were going to say earlier?
Just to say, I think I think a lot of us were thrown offwards because it was 13 tweets or replies. It was she only followed 3 random people as well. So it was just very. It's nice to see that they're doing different things with contract renewals. It's not like the same old rubbish.
Yeah.
You see, sometimes you get with the new signings, it'll be like a black and white screen or something like that, and all of a sudden, like, it comes into colour and
But I think
usual background.
I do feel because Leah Volti and Kim Little been being the other recent one, they've been around the club so much, they know what it means to be an Arsenal player. They know, especially with someone like Kim as well. She knows what she means to the fans, so they're gonna have something like that.
I did like the video was very much talking about their life. There's a lot of photos, a lot of memories on there, and they're all, and both Kim's and Leah's were both at Emirates Stadium, sort of emphasising that the home of Arsenal, all Arsenal, is at Emirates Stadium.
Yeah, no, it is 100% as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, it 100% is. I mean, with more games being put there next season, the integration and the slow move over will happen. And personally, I hope they do sell individual tickets, because not all men's fans are going to want to go to the women's games. And then there's fans and families who want to go to the women's games, but they won't be able to get tickets if you double up on tickets. So it's damned if you do, damned if you don't, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, on that subject, but I'm sure I could spend hours talking about that, but I'll now get into the Brighton game.
Yes.
Have I forgotten anything?
No, just
checking. Just
saying,
checking.
Genius move by Arsenal. Can't wait for the next contract announcement.
Yeah. So we finally got down to Brighton. No frozen pitches. Brighton went with a 4-2-2-3-1. They had Walsh, Kohlberg, Morse, Bergsvand, Patterson, Stefanovic, Olm, Green, Turland, Robinson, and Guillaumin. I think I pronounced that properly. Whereas, what did you make of that lineup, Matt?
Against us, well, Poppy Patterson is a player that I've quite enjoyed from a time at Everton. She's a player that is always a good backup, and I think she should be realistically pushing for an England squad place at the moment, considering the issues we're having at full-back at the moment, especially if Alex Greenwood decides that she's going to be a centre-back for the rest of her career. It frees up a position that someone can take. Unfortunately, Gabby, we'll talk about Everton later on, but it's just a bit of a shame about that. But Brighton, the problem is that we were probably expecting a team that had that similar fight against Manchester United in that semi-final, and it just didn't come about for whatever reason, and it was a real shame.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, they've had that new manager bounce for a little bit now. They're safe. They're now safe. I feel like they're safe on 60. So I remember right, they're on 16 points. So I do feel it for the London City Lionesses at this stage with with Brighton manager, because she kind of left them, went to the US for 6 months, come back, and now she's doing great in top flight football. But I guess what that experience does for you. It's a bit bittersweet. But for the Arsenal, we had a 3-4-2-1. We had Manu Zinsberger, Lotte Wubben-Moy, Jen Beattie, Raffaele, Salza, Noel Maritz, Victoria Pelova, Frida Leonardson-Marnham, Katie McCabe, Jodie Taylor, Stina Blackstenius, and Katrina Mollical. But Jodie Taylor wasn't originally meant to be in that lineup. It was meant to be Leah Volti. Unfortunately, she was unwell. I am going to correct Sky because she was not injured. And when you see that and you've not seen the build-up, you tend to freak out. So she was, in fact, ill. Adam, what did you make of Taylor coming in for Volti?
Well, I think we were all thinking the same thing when we saw Volti drop out in the warm-up. reminds us of a certain away game against a team that also begins with a letter B that happened last season. Yeah, Matt was there, had a great time, talked many times about it. Wonderful memories made. Yeah, I think we were all worried. And yeah, Jodie Taylor, that's not a like-for-like swap. That's a change in formation. That's a rejig. That again. And I think that was almost sort of the bigger problem is Arsenal obviously used to playing a particular shape of players in a particular position, even if they are playing out of their normal position. But the nature of the dropout means you're having to change the entire formation you've been practicing in all week to accommodate to make up the numbers. So I wasn't feeling great about it, but I was intrigued to see how Jodie Taylor would do because she's normally been a substitute coming on for Stina. So I was intrigued to see how she would play as a starter working with Stina in attack rather than as an alternative. The question was whether our midfield could last without Volti in. So it was completely rejigged. It was I'm trying to mentally work out what our midfield was now, because if we're playing a back five, I'm assuming it was just Palova and Molekul then, if that's the case. And
Sky had Molekul up on the wings, opposite wing to Taylor, to Jodie Taylor, and then Stina up top.
Right.
So that's a possibility, but we know how reliable Sky are. When I was checking who crossed into one of the goals, it's Moritz, not Maritz.
Yes, our new right back, Noel Moritz. Yes, I look forward to seeing her next season. I was worried, and I was worried for about 6 minutes. I was watching it on my Sky Go app, so people in my WhatsApp group were watching on the terrestrial, were ahead of the feed. And so very kindly told me that Stina had scored whilst we had the ball knocking around our back line. So I thought, oh, I'd look forward to it. This is fantastic. And it seemed to just sort of go from there. Again, I would say this is a big difference from last season. Yeah. We lost the key stone of our midfield. We went to a team who are down the bottom end of the table away from home, who were expecting to beat, and we actually did win, which seems like nothing, but that's one of the reasons why we lost last season. We didn't do that. So very glad that we sort of got over that one. And this is a Brighton team, I think this Brighton team are better than Birmingham. I mean, they gave Man United a run for their money in the semi-final. So,
definitely. I've actually got a question for you both.
Go on.
How many goals for and against do you think Brighton and Arsenal scored against each other?
In WSL?
WSL only, yeah.
The
last 9 games.
I'm trying to think of Brighton game goals they have scored. I can think of. It's just upstairs now, so I can think of maybe 1 or 2 they've mainly scored.
Very hot.
Brighton scored. I'm going to say somewhere in the region of 25 goals we've scored.
Okay, Matt.
I reckon it's higher. If you take into account last season at home, we won 3-1. A lot of our games Arsenal have been winning by, if I remember the stat, is that Brighton failed to score. I think about 5 of the 9 meetings in WSL against us. So that would probably, I would say it's probably around. I was going to say 30, but I think I might push it out to 35.
Oof. Okay, so at the moment, Brighton have scored 2. We have scored 32 against them. I mean, you're very close, Matt, but you decided to go for the higher options. So you're a little far out. Adam, you're too low, unfortunately. But yeah, that was the stat I was looking at. I was like, wow. It does mean they've got nearly 100% loss record against us. Nearly.
Yeah. When you look at the fixtures, it is what you would say, and this is no offense to Brighton because I've got love for Brighton. They are the banker. If you need a team, I need 3 points. You think Brighton, right? That's where they're going to win, and it was another win. And yes, I was really surprised just how quick we were able to cut them open. Just the speed and the ease. I mean, we were playing with a back 5. We were playing a defensive team, but the way we ploughed through a Brighton defence that's known to be usually quite well structured was really bizarre to watch. I mean, the first goal, defensively, I think one of the players fell over in the move.
Yeah, Walsh slipped over, and I thought I put my hand up, and I thought, oh no, that's a foul, please, no, because she scored. And then watch replay, she slipped over her own feet, unfortunately.
With
And scored again, and it just got stranger and stranger.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, for Stina to have 2 in 2 minutes is just, how do I put it? It's unbelievable, Jeff. Do that is just the best expression I can think of that comes to mind. But it's like with the first one, obviously Walsh like slips over her own feet, and then it's fired into the goal, the bottom corner. Walsh just doesn't get her hands to it at all. I mean, the second one, like Stina just pinches the ball before picking her spot to put the ball in the back of the net. Like Walsh just wasn't reacting quick enough for me. Matt, what are your thoughts on Stina's both goals? Should she have had a hat trick?
She really should have. And the annoying thing is that the one that was given offside, she wasn't offside because she was because I think it was Poppy Pattinson at the time. She was actually behind play, and it is a bit of a bizarre one. But this is what happens in the league when you don't have that interaction like you do at the Premier League and the Champions League knockout rounds.
I was talking about this with Maisie the other day, and I enjoy not having it because you get those conversations back and those debates back. Is it offside? Is it a goal? And those conversations is what I used to love about football. Now we get all to this technology in for the men's game. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and argue, that's my opinion, sort of thing, and people will go out their way to tell you why you're wrong. Whereas with the women's, you can actually have in-depth conversations about it and actually debate about it.
I'd rather see it as like the women's need to they're taking things from the men's game, but they're also doing their own interpretations and more like a men's football 2.0. I think is the best way I can really describe it. Is that they just make it better than it already is. The problem with VAR is we have these errors. Like we can talk about this all day. We talked about it at the Champions League and the delay, the fact that Laura went up. We were waiting for the VAR to clear up after Jen Beattie's goal. Then 20 seconds later, Laura goes off, get injured with an ACL injury. It's just one of those issues. And but let's just take that off the table because Stina was basically from minute one. She was the predator. She was hunting down that team left, right, and centre because she wanted to go and score as many goals as she could. She could have had 3, she could have had 4, she could have had probably a double hat trick by the end of it. But it was just not to be in the end. But I think the fact that we scored all of our goals in that first half, it was almost like, right, pressure's off now. They've got to try and do it. But because of the formation we had in the end, nothing really came about it from Brighton.
No, completely. I do wish she had got a hat trick. She definitely deserved it in those opening minutes. That's for sure. I think I was sitting on John Sinclair TV when that happened, talking as men's football, and I was also screaming my head off about the game. So that was good fun. And then the third goal came from Frida Leonardson-Marnham. Maritz picks her out in the 6-yard box, then she nods it home. I mean, Adam, how criminal is it for Brighton to give Frida Leonardson-Marnham that much space?
It was really bizarre to watch because there was no leap. There was no flying Jen Beattie in the air, Sama thumping header. It was just, the ball's there. I'm just going to lean over and just nudge it slightly with my head, and it's gone in. It was appalling defending, and it was not just they didn't defend the first cross. The cross comes over, didn't then defend the second one. It was really, and the move had happened about a few seconds earlier because McKay.
Is he gone again?
Yeah, I think so. We've lost him again.
He is making a good point though, because I have a feeling they were probably too worried about Stina at that point that they were trying to double up on her, and they didn't actually. Funny enough, they were all the Brighton defence were actually behind Stina, and so there we go. Go on, Adam.
No, we've lost. We've completely lost him again. Right, sorry. Continue, Matt.
Yeah, Frida's basically just walked in and she's been able to head it. Had Frida missed it, I think Stina would have got the hat trick. But
Yeah,
a fair
but
play
there's
to
no way that you should be giving Frida Leonards and Marnham that much space,
no.
especially with what she's done this season with 2 worldies, and most of her goals have been vital for every game. So no, definitely, I think
Touching
Adam has returned.
touching wood completely. Come on, Adam. Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Yes.
No, very robotic, unfortunately. It's just not. I do apologise, everybody. Adam's Wi-Fi is not having any of this tonight at all for us. But I am going to at 3-0. Did you think it was game over, Matt?
Usually it does mean the game's over, but I think a lot of us wanted to carry it on. Goal difference could mean the difference at the end of the season. Obviously, we could have won the league on goal difference last season had it gone down to that, but it didn't happen. But again, at this stage, it is one of those things where all these possibilities are an option. I think I should pass it off to Adam actually before he loses the Wi-Fi again.
Well, all I was going to say is the goal difference. We've seen with the Chelsea games, they've won 2 on the trot, absolute batterings. They completely swung the goal difference their way. And certainly for their title challenges, goal difference could be crucial. With
At
what
the
we've got with
moment, they're currently level. So if they level on points, it's a tie.
Exactly. So with Man City, if we beat Everton, we go 3 points clear. But we've got a very tricky game at the weekend, as have they. And I think there is every possibility that the top 3 could go down to goal difference. And if that's the case, we need to make sure we're ahead of the curve. I think we are now. I think do you have a lead, and hopefully we can extend it against Everton. But I think it could easily be that Man City and us could be tied last game of the season, and points difference will be everything. So. No, good that we got a third, got the 4th goal in, stretched that lead, and kept the clean sheet in the second half. We don't. That's why I was a bit annoyed with the Leicester win, because the Leicester win was a 1-0, but that was a chance for us to again get some goals in and get a stretch that.
No, absolutely. Obviously, the next goal came from them. Oh, she's got her first WSL goal, and that is Victoria Pelova, finally. The amount of time she's hit the woodwork this season, I'm glad she managed to do it. So Frida Leonards and Marnham had the vision and the perfect weight of her pass over to a very fast-moving Victoria Pelova on the move, and she just trumps it home beyond Walsh. And I think for me that was game over for them.
Unfortunately, it looks like we've lost Adam. Oh no, he's back.
Yeah.
Go on, Adam.
Yeah, I was going to say I loved it because I'm a big Pelova fan, and very much love that goal. Very sort of Saka near post smash, I thought, and I think they caught the keeper out as well, because I think the keeper was expecting the low cross, like she did for Stina in the Champions League game. So very much love that goal, and it's been in the post for a long time. She deserved that goal. She had quite a few chances. Obviously, she scored against Leeds in the FA Cup, but that's a different kettle of fish. In those big games, she's had chances and she's not taken them, and she deserved that one. Really, really, really pleased for her that she's got off. She's opened a WSL account, shall we say? And a 4th goal just before half time was brilliant.
We're finally getting to see this player that we saw at the Euros. Nearly said WSL then. I don't know why then. But I find it quite cheeky as well, because essentially Walsh has come off her line, and because she's come off the line, she's allowed that little area.
It's a window of opportunity. She's opened up.
So it's almost like you got the keeper off the off guard, and that's how you scored. But it's the same thing that I've been saying about Frida Marnham, that she kind of needs to take these opportunities to learn when to pass, and she got it spot on. And I'm happy for her, happy for Victoria Pelova, because she's been outstanding for the last couple of weeks as well. She got player of the match for this one as well. So
she did, because last time I think it was just the supporters club voted, but this was actually the Sky Award. I'd say that finish shows real sort of footballing intelligence, recognising that the keeper has shifted and is preempting, recognising there's a chance. That's not just a smash and hope. That's realising the situation and the optimum decision to be made there. And it was a cracking finish. So yes, very happy at half time, 4-0 up. And at that point, everything looked like it was going to be okay.
No, absolutely, completely agree with both of you there. But it was really one-way traffic. Like the half-time stats just basically summed up the whole game for me. I mean, our possession was 69%. We had 7 shots, 4 big chances, 2 missed big chances, 311 accurate passes, 8 which is converts into 89%, no fouls and 1 offside.
Yeah.
I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. An offside that wasn't offside. I completely agree with you there because I was really disappointed in that. But I think someone who does need to be talked about is Super Sub Gio. I mean, she came on. She was absolutely everywhere. But unfortunately, a collision with Zoe Morse ended up taking her off again. So she was only on for a short time. What did you make of her performance, Adam? For the time she was on the pitch.
Yeah, yes. This is a bit of a mixed one, really, because I sort of have mixed feelings over it, because I think individually Gio looked sharp, great, fast, pressing, leading the attacks, and you're thinking, oh, maybe there could be her first goal for Arsenal. She's yet to go off the mark. She has come close, hit the bar against Spurs. And certainly to the moment you're thinking this could be good. The problem is that we actually sacrificed a defender to bring Gio on. We stuffed Haffer off. Which is fair enough. Happens to run up games. We don't have a runner. We don't have to have a season-ending injury. But the problem was that we then changed our shape. We then went to a back 4 with Beattie and Lottie in the centre, and all of a sudden the game, which was in our control, just went wide open. Brighton were having chances, we were having chances. It became a basketball game, and I was more concerned the fact that I thought we'd actually concede a goal rather than actually score another one. So it became really chaotic. And that's not saying that's Gio's fault. I don't think the tactical change was the right one. I think maybe Jones would be better off bringing if he was going to bring Gio on, bring her on for something maybe like someone like Cool, maybe like Palova. So I was excited because we haven't seen much of Gio. So everything that we do see is always almost hyper exciting because we don't know when we're going to see it again. It's like a pocket full of mystery.
Exactly. It's like that once every few weeks, that treat, and then you just take it away and it disappears.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
It's like a snow at Christmas. You think, we've got snow. We haven't had that for a while. I can't wait. Gio is on. Excellent. We haven't seen much of her, but again, it's all potential, all promise, but so far, nothing has come of it yet, which is a shame.
I think she does need a bit more time for me. I mean, it does take a season to settle down. I know some have settled better than others, but I think she's got a chance to, and plus her age works against her, I feel sometimes. But another 2 players did return, and that is Caitlin Ford, who is back and up and running again.
Yep.
And also Taya Goldie, which I can currently see Matt's face lighting up. So what are your thoughts on Taya being back?
Well, the reason why I was smiling was because you were mentioning Gio, and I'm out of all 3 of us. I've seen her the most amount of times.
Yeah. That is true.
She is a really good player.
All I've got to say on that subject is, you lucky what's it?
That's nice for a goal.
It's so nice to see, like, when she comes back and she does that. She is basically a mini terrier when she does play. But to go back on point about the when players coming back from injuries, Taya went out to Watford last season, and then February last year got an ACL injury, out for the rest of the season. Bearing in mind that she's been fit for months and months and months, she's only just come back now towards the end of this season, shows that this isn't just an ongoing issue. It's an issue that we need to address when it comes to Beth, when it comes to Viv, when it comes to Leah, when it comes to Laura, how we deal with them in the future. How should we have these issues going further forward? But it was great to see Taya come on. It was great to see Caitlin come on as well. But both of them coming back from injuries themselves. Both of them coming back from injuries. I think there's one more that you haven't mentioned.
I will get to her. She's on my list because it's a debut. There is one more. But
great to see that as well, because all of a sudden there's this buzz now, and I think it's almost like, even though we find ourselves potentially out of a title race, we're still buzzing from something. We're not like 2 years ago where we cut to where we were third in the champion and we just got scraped by into the Champions League spots.
Yeah,
we're still finding things that are making us feel excited again.
Yeah, no, 100%. And the player that Matt was just referring to is Freya Godfrey. While Michelle Ajamang is having the time of her life and scoring 2 goals for the under-17s in the women's Euros, the under-17 women's Euros, I should say, Freya Godfrey got her opportunity to come on for a few minutes. I believe she's just won a trophy with her academy team, if I remember rightly. Is that right, Matt?
Ipswich she was on loan with, unfortunately she missed out on promotion.
Yeah, no, but what did you make of the minutes that she was on, Adam?
Again, because she had so little minutes, not much to really pass judgment on.
Yeah.
She didn't do anything stupid. I mean, didn't score an own goal. Nothing nonsense like that. By that time, the game had pretty much expired. The jig was up. Both sides knew which way the game was going. I think the more important thing is to get them to have minutes on the pitch, even if it was only 5 at the end. Because at least they'll then feel they know they've potentially got a place in this team going forward. And if these players are as talented as we hope, we're going to want them to stick around.
The interview she gave afterwards as well was great. I don't know if you've seen that video on Twitter.
It's on my watch list. It's bookmarked. I haven't got round to it, unfortunately.
I won't spoil it, but it is a really nice one. It comes across as almost like a very Leah Williamson sort of video, if I'm honest. She's talking, it's like they're one of our own. Like they get this, and the fact that it's a small step.
That's one thing I love about academy players. They know what it means to play for this club, and it's why certain men's players are absolutely treasured, and it's why Leah's treasured. Kim Little is treasured because they know what it's like. They've been around for that long between Kim and Leah. They know what it means to play for us, and we love them for it. So we are now going to move on to our Everton preview for tomorrow or tonight, whenever you're listening to this podcast. So our head-to-head record, out of 20 games, we've beat them 18 times, drawn once, and lost once against them. So, sorry about that, everybody. My Alexa's decided to randomly start talking to itself. So in the last 5 games, with Everton, whoever does play them, both teams have ended up scoring. And there has been some close score lines in there. I think there was a 3-2 from Chelsea this season as well. Unfortunately, Everton didn't get that last goal. But the momentum today against Everton after one sort of mauling, do you think they're going to be looking to get back on their feet, Matt?
You're coming back to the Everton expert, basically, at this point.
Yes, I am.
You live there.
I am. Well, you do live up there, plus the fact that you're there most of the time as well.
You are an Auburn correspondent.
Walton Hall Park is such a unique stadium. It is basically, it's a free-for-all standing stadium. There's only one stand where you can sit down. And for anyone that doesn't know, I love going there. Whenever I go there, I really enjoy it because of the interactions with the players, the fact that you're just sitting there and everything that goes on between. So I won't bore people with the details because it'll be too much. But Everton this season, they've, especially after last season, the way it panned out after spending X amount of money, it not panning out for them, nearly getting relegated this season. They decided to do something different. Brian Sorensen coming in, he was going to be the manager to try and change things up, and they've done really well for themselves this season. The fact that they've got Emily Ramsey in goal, as well as Courtney Brosnan. Emily Ramsey play currently on loan from Man United. You've got Aggie Beaver-Jones on loan from Chelsea. You've got Jess Park, who's out for the rest of the season with a shoulder injury. She's from Man City. Gio went to Everton. She decided to go to Everton. She had other options. And it just kind of speaks volumes about where Everton are at the moment. And they are a lot better as they were. But at the same time, they've also been their own downfall because Gabby George is out for the rest of the season because of an injury. You've got Jess Park out for the rest of the season with an injury. So it's almost like this Everton squad is very depleted. But you look at some of those games, they do like to run those games more closely than they have been in the past.
I think for me personally, although they're depleted, they've still got that quality like we do. I know where I've watched them play before, they like to go down the wing. So Noel Marritz and Steph Catley are going to have to be on their toes, or Katie and Noel will have to be on their toes this weekend, I feel. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting game for me. I mean, Steph Catley and Caitlin Ford are in contention. Obviously, they've got one more training session before it's confirmed. Again, Lena Hurtig, 1 game too soon in Ionis's words. But Gio will be back, which is the good news.
Is Leon Meyer still playing for Everton?
Yes.
Yes, that's another one to look out for. Ex-Arsenal, she might see her play.
Yeah, or she could do an Emma Mitchell that scored for us? You never know. Hopefully not. I don't wish that on any player, but it is kind of funny. But Adam, what are your thoughts ahead of tomorrow?
Well, I'm quite intrigued by
tonight,
Everton because, they went for it big last season. You know, they thought, well, we're gonna muscle into this top 3, and they ended up having their asses handed to them. Really, they had a bit of a nightmare of a season. Went through, I think, 3 different managers. I'm really glad they got a level. They've almost sort of accepted their position, thinking, okay, we're not the next Manchester City. We can't just throw money, especially as there is no money anymore with their club. With them, we know the financial issues they've got at the moment. I'm glad they got level stability, sort of accepting there. We'll just go for mid-table WSL, steady, and it's been right for them actually. I think mid-table, that's about right for them. They're a tough prospect. I remember when we scraped top 3 about 2 seasons ago, we had to get a win at Everton's ground, and it took a last gasp Kim Little penalty to do it. The last kick of the game, that was it. That's what got us into the top 3. And I think it'll be something similar. I think it's something similar. I thought we do these predictions and we're always wrong. I thought it was going to be a tight game against Brighton, and we gave them a walloping. I thought we were going to wallop Leicester, and it was a tight game. So what do I know? But I do think Everton will give us a game. They're always competitive, as sort of Matt says. They're always competitive. They will. There's a discipline, I think, to their play, structurally wise. I don't think it's going to be easy, and we'll just have to play well with the players that we've got available. We can win this game. We should win this game. If we play as we know we can. Hopefully Leah Volti's back fit. She's got over her illness. Could celebrate maybe that contract with a goal. Would be nice. Another goal on Merseyside. Add to the one scored earlier this season. I'm confident we can win this game. But it's not going to be easy, and we'll need the players to step up again to do it.
Oh no, definitely. But the thing is, there's one thing we can confirm is with those girls, they're playing for the players who can't play.
Oh yeah.
And I think that just fires them on even further. I mean, we all saw that Champions League semi-final, the devastation, but they worked their socks off for nearly 120 minutes. Well,
they're not just playing for we're not just playing for their teammates. They're playing because they know they need to play even harder to get the chance to go again. Yeah. Because they know what that journey was like, and they want that journey again.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. I mean, there's 3 games left. Mathematically, we can finish second or third, depending on how Chelsea and Man United go for the next 2. Well, 3 for Chelsea, 2 for Man United. But it also depends on what City do to Man United this weekend.
Is the title completely mathematically gone now?
For us, it could be. It depends on how we perform at Chelsea. For me personally,
it depends on Chelsea's.
That's the key game for us out of all of them. But
I mean, I don't think we're going to win the title. I should have clarified that. I think the title's gone.
Mathematically, if the other 2 teams ahead of us blunder, which is not likely, it could happen. But I can see us staying in third and keeping City away from us. That is the most important thing for me.
That is the thing, and that's what I see it going. I see it us third, City fourth. That's what I hope.
Yeah.
And I think if we are to get Champions League, that is how I think it will pan out.
Yeah. Jonas is looking at this at one game at a time.
Of course he is.
But it's one cup final at a time for me, Matt. Do you agree?
Yeah, it is. I know you haven't asked for our predictions, but if I was to give a prediction on this one, I think it would be another 1-0 Arsenal game. But I think you look at some of these games this season. You look some games that you've looked at. Some of them we should have won.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them we've lost or should have gotten some points away from. You look at some of the surprises. Liverpool got going and beaten City 2-1 earlier on this month. Even Liverpool beating Chelsea at the start of the season. Again, a game I was there for.
Wait, I mentioned it before.
Just if you look at this season as a whole, it's been so. I think it's not just post Euros. I think it's amplified the fact that there is more appreciation for women's football now. Even when the problem is now we have women's football weekend with non-league football weekend. So the next step would be to separate the two. So then we can have this weekend of celebration instead of having say Barnet competing with Boreham Wood and Arsenal women for people to come and watch their games.
Yeah,
it shouldn't be the case, but it's been a really good season, and it's not over yet. But I think we're all accepting that we're expecting to finish third this season based on this at the moment. But you never know. Should anyone slip up, I'm sure we'll be there to pounce. That's for sure.
I know, I completely agree with that. I think the highlight or the absolutely horrible take of Jonas's interview for me, I believe it was someone from the Telegraph. Susie Rack would not be impressed. Apparently Chelsea are going to win the treble.
Yeah, they're going to win. Is it the Premier League, the Champions League, which they're out of, the FA Cup, won.
Yeah, FA Cup and the Conti Cup. Jonas' response was, "I think we've already won that." So I think that's really poor, absolutely appalling journalism. Personally, it's like, do your research. I mean, if this is the Telegraph, I mean, do better.
We should say allegedly, because we have no evidence this was precise. We don't want to be done for libel.
The thing is, this person asked a few questions and I did not catch who it was. Because normally when you hear Tim Stillman speaking, you know it's Tim. And there's a few other regulars that are in there. And I do think it was one of the regulars, unfortunately. But it was just a treble. Where are you getting this from? They're not getting the Champions League. That's not going to happen because that's Wolfsburg and Barcelona. We've beaten them this season. They've won the FA Cup. All that's left is the league.
It is a blunder. It's a blunder. But I also say it's also human error. I've tweeted things, and it's only when people have tweeted back to say you've quoted the opposition's goalkeeper in your tweet. And you do lose your words. Maybe he meant double and got his words frazzled or whatever. But
it was really. I do feel it was really hard for Jonas not to react to it.
I would have thought his face, might have gone for the laughter,
because normally he's got cool, calm voice, and he wanted to sit there and laugh, like, what are you talking about? And he had to keep his composure. I think he really did really well on that, personally.
I think he was stunned by the stupidity of the question to actually react. It was like, really? I mean, normally, like some managers, you'll laugh it off and they'll make a joke out of it, and sort of, but it was sort of the way he sort of just stone-faced it, and it's like, what treble is this?
It reminds me of a Twitter post that I saw today of a Barcelona fan mocking Arsenal. I mean, like, Barcelona have obviously won, both men and women have won the leagues.
Congratulations to them.
And then you had, I think it was maybe a German team winning their league, and then it said in England, then you have Arsenal, and I'm like, we've won a trophy this season. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
We posted our pictures in March.
But you can't win a Conti Cup in Spain. It's the most prestigious of all trophies.
Exactly.
You don't get tired of winning it.
No, exactly. But it's a case of just looking at things as a whole. It doesn't matter how small the trophy is. It's just a bit of silverware in the cupboard at the end of the day, for me
Yeah,
personally.
Hopefully, be in the trophy room when we next go on the Arsenal tour.
Yeah, but the thing is, in the Arsenal tours, they don't show off the Champions League trophy. They don't
Okay.
make you stop and listen. No, they don't. They do not. I've been on 3 recent tours. Nope.
When I went on a tour the other day, the Women's Champions League trophy was in a cabinet, and I was able to see it and get a photo of it.
Yeah, no, but they're all in one cabinet together.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
most of the time, the tour guys just walk past it. They don't say anything.
Oh,
Unless you know what you're looking at.
when I went, there was no tour guide. There was just an audio headset.
Oh, you went on the headset. Oh, okay.
I had Lee Dixon talking to me, and then we stopped listening to Lee Dixon, and we just walked around ourselves and made our own observations.
Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, obviously, Lucy, who has been on here on the podcast before, is now one of our tour guides at Arsenal. So she is going to make a point of reminding people of the Arsenal women's history, which is always amazing.
Congratulations, Lucy.
Yeah, no, definitely. So massive congratulations, Luce. Enjoy every moment of it. But getting to Matt's favourite part of the show, he's already jumped the gun with a 1-0 win to the Arsenal. Adam, what is your score prediction?
I'm going for 2-1.
Ooh.
Yeah, I could be pushed to 3-1, but I'm going to keep my powder dry and keep it as a 2-1. I just think I think we'll get goals, but I think it'll be close. And I think it's going to be 90 minutes and we're going to be watching between our fingers. Which means, of course, we'll win 5-0.
Great, that's going to be stress. So tomorrow you're predicting. Oh no, I'm not even gonna say it because it's Wednesday night and I'm usually talking Premier League football.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be watching through my fingers while trying to talk about men's football. Great. But yeah, no, for me it's going to be 3-1 to the Arsenal. Every point counts at this point. I want City as far away from us as possible, especially if they do something to Man United over the weekend. That's what makes me worried. Even if it's just 1 point away, keeping them away, we can't afford to drop points, in my opinion.
Next weekend is the narratives are so intertwined. It feels like even if we win, we could lose. It's so like in terms of like what our desires are for other teams and how they want to do. It's like a Shakespearean tragedy in some sense. I don't know how I'm going to feel by the end of it. As long as we do what we can do, that's all that matters, because we can't be in a position where we want Arsenal to lose a game for other teams. It has to be, we have to win. That's it. And then everything else will sort itself out and we'll have to accept it when it comes.
No, absolutely 100%. I mean, I couldn't put that better myself. But that is us for tonight. We're wrapping up nice and early for once, which is a bit odd for us because we can sit here and talk all night about the girls for sure. But boys, thank you for joining me tonight. Been a blast as always. There will be a new podcast out on Thursday night. Doing a bit early because I have got weekend events that I'm attending. So make sure you join us back on Thursday. And for now, enjoy the game wherever you're watching it. And come on, you Gunners.